you go bankrupt. And there's a penalty for bankruptcy. Your credit sucks. You're very difficult to get a loan. Very difficult for people to trust you again. You have to earn that trust back. And even then, it's always going to be a stain on your record.
It's absolutely, he needs money.
You think he's going
Once
broke?
Again, come on. Fighters like that always go broke.
Yeah, he's stupid. He's an idiot. He loves the fame and he loves the money. So ultimately, if you're just that money hungry and that fame hungry, you're gonna just do whatever. You don't care.
When Joe Rogan went after Jake Paul, he made it clear that the lawsuits and fixed fight accusations have left a mark that will not fade easily from his boxing record. Rogan suggested that no matter how many wins Paul stacks up, the constant questions about legitimacy have already changed how fans view his career. Critics believe his record looks polished but built on careful matchmaking and heavy promotion instead of true competitive danger. Even if the legal issues disappear, the doubt will likely remain because in boxing credibility means everything. Once fans start questioning authenticity, the victories lose their shine, and what should have been a legacy starts feeling like a list of statistics that never carried real weight.
Because there's a price that you pay that is not worth it.
The hype around fake fight accusations blew up after the showdown between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua as fans began noticing what they felt were strange patterns throughout the night, and the reaction spread fast across the fight world. Many people questioned how Jake Paul was able to last longer against Joshua than Francis Ngannou did, even though the difference in real fight experience and raw power is obvious to anyone who follows combat sports. What was promoted as a massive crossover event between a social media star and a former unified heavyweight champion quickly turned into fuel for non-stop speculation, with leaked training clips, unusual betting behavior, and loud voices from commentators, all pushing the idea that the whole event felt closer to entertainment than true competition.
Away from Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. What have we got here?
As I look at it, for the fans, it put boxing still on the map because it keeps boxing relevant. Having exhibition fights like this, different celebrities and different things like that. I look at it as a fun thing for fans and stuff like that. I don't really take it seriously, because we in the business of boxing. That right there is just exhibition stuff. But I'm hearing they say it's a real fight. But yeah, it's a real fight because both guys are getting in a fight. I'm still the one that be thinking certain things are scripted as well too. So, but we'll see. I always say may the best man win, and main thing about it, may those guys go in there and have
Many commentators called the matchup between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua completely absurd, pointing out the huge gap in experience, physical size, and overall fighting pedigree, and some even went as far as to say the whole event felt more like a show designed for entertainment than a genuine sporting contest.
Jake Paul, fake Paul I call him, against Anthony Joshua. Massive unit, two-time world champ, still got a big punch. I think he's mentally fragile at world level if he goes against the big guns because of the knockout, especially the Dubois knockout when he got fucking splattered. You know what I mean? In round 5, and he got hurt early on and then he got done. And he's not been in the ring for 13 months.
Yeah.
But can you see a world in which Jake Paul is competitive in this fight?
No.
No. How do you see the fight going if AJ takes it serious?
Simon Jordan added even more heat to the controversy by claiming that Anthony Joshua could have ended the fight against Jake Paul at any moment, but chose not to, suggesting the bout was deliberately stretched to meet Netflix's expectations rather than the sport's. Jordan argued that Joshua's skill, power, and timing were so far beyond Paul's that a quick knockout would have spoiled the drama and hurt streaming appeal, implying that the rounds and tension were crafted to deliver spectacle for a massive global audience. While he offered no concrete proof, his comments reflected what many fans already suspect, that when big money and platforms like Netflix are involved, entertainment can quietly take priority over real competition, leaving viewers to wonder just how authentic the fight actually was.
Paul posted on Twitter after the fight, jaw broken, heart and balls intact. That's a good thing. Time to rest, recover, and return to cruiserweight. I mean, he's coming out of it as if, well, yeah, I got battered in the end, but boy.
That's what he will do. I mean, it depends what you think this was. I mean, I never felt it was anything other than entertainment. I'm not surprised that Anthony Joshua could have knocked Jake Paul out anytime he wanted to. He didn't want to.
So why didn't he?
Because, well, when you're on a platform like Netflix that turns one-part episodes into a 6-part series, why would you think that part of their entertainment model is to have a 30-second fight? Why? You watch a Netflix series, you can watch it and you can go, well, I get the gist of it. Why have you got to turn it into 10 episodes? Because I'm dying with boredom after episode.
Are you telling me that Netflix probably emphasised, listen guys, take this as long as you can?
Anthony Joshua didn't step irrespective, I sat to all these guys, whether it be Spencer or Paul Smith, talking about the fact that Jake Paul couldn't run, didn't have the footwork to be able to move around.
After the fight, fans and commentators alike weighed in with mixed reactions, but many focused on how the bout seemed more like a carefully staged spectacle than a true test of skill. Observers noted that while Jake Paul took some heavy shots and showed heart, his performance highlighted the massive gap in experience and technique between him and Anthony Joshua. Some argued that Joshua could have ended the fight at any point but deliberately held back, possibly to extend the rounds and create more drama for the streaming platform, making the event feel like a drawn-out series rather than a real boxing contest. Following the fight, Ryan Garcia jumped into the conversation on social media, giving a blunt take that drew widespread attention as he suggested that Gervonta Davis would have been even more dangerous for Paul, implying that the outcome might have been far quicker or more decisive against a top-level boxer. Many analysts agreed with Garcia, noting that while Paul's effort was commendable, the matchup exposed that this was not elite boxing, and for some critics the entire Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight was a spectacle that should never have been arranged in the first place.
Fair play to Jake Paul. He has a lot of guts, and the fact that he wasn't carried out of this fight on a stretcher, certainly I guess you can say is a positive. But what did I think about this? What did I think about Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul? Look, it felt like Anthony Joshua carried him. It felt like Jake Paul brought in as much of a negative anti-style as possible, circling away, constantly holding Joshua, constantly falling to the ground. Again, while you're certainly going to give respect for the YouTube star turned fighter for having the guts to put on this type of show and to stand in there for as long as he did until a clean right hand in the corner when Paul was absolutely exhausted, dropped him and ended the fight. This is not elite boxing. And we knew that coming in, but if these fights are going to be sanctioned as official fights, like the Mike Tyson fight from last year, like this...
Adding to the controversy, Oscar De La Hoya weighed in on Jake Paul's earlier fight with Mike Tyson, suggesting that the bout may have been manipulated. He claimed that Paul essentially paid Tyson to guarantee a favorable result for his record, and pointed out that numerous analysts noticed Tyson holding back and not fighting with the usual intensity expected in a legitimate professional match. De La Hoya made it clear that this wasn't just a one-off situation but part of a broader pattern in Paul's career, raising questions about the authenticity of multiple fights and fueling ongoing debate over whether his victories are earned or orchestrated for show.
This fight was. I do believe it was scripted, and I believe that Tyson was certainly held back. Look, I'm a fighter, and I can see it. It goes on the record, and it was sanctioned. So Jake Paul paid to get the W on his record? Bruh. For what? For your own personal satisfaction? Bruh. I keep telling you, if you want to be a real fighter, like you say you want to be, what do you do?
Although Mike Tyson denied any claims that the fight was staged, his performance still left a lot of fans feeling underwhelmed and questioning whether the bout should even count toward his official record. For a fighter of Tyson's reputation and skill level, the noticeable lack of intensity and urgency in his approach was hard to ignore, creating lingering doubts about the authenticity of the match and fueling ongoing debate over how much of it was real competition versus carefully managed spectacle.
They broke some news about how he spoke to one of the Paul brothers and that they had an agreement that no one was supposed to get severely injured and that the fight had to last at least through the 6th round. As I was watching the fight, I'm like, damn, it looked like Mike came out a little hot, and I saw him do this one thing where he kept biting his gloves. I know there was a big age discrepancy here, right? Jake Paul being 27, Mike Tyson being 58, of course. But I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, is he biting onto his glove to hold back? Because it looked like he had something there. Even some of the jabs Mike threw, I'm like, he stopped his punch. I'm not trying to be conspiracy theorist here, but thinking to myself, I'm like, I don't know if Mike completely exerted himself or he just got really tired.
I don't know about it being rigged or not, but I do feel bad for people who really are invested in the sport.
You want to know why I also think it might be a bit rigged? When the fight ended, Jake Paul kept calling out other fighters, and he kept referencing, you guys need me, you guys need me, and I'm realizing he's meaning his money. So if boxers and people in the industry know that, hey, if we go get with Jake Paul, we'll make...
During the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight, many observers pointed out strange rules that appeared to give Jake Paul an advantage, with one particular clause reportedly penalizing Tyson financially if he ended the fight too quickly. This fueled speculation that the result may have been shaped more by contract terms and business considerations than by actual competitive effort, leaving fans to question how much of the bout was authentic and how much was designed to protect Paul's record and the spectacle itself.
Y'all already know I'm mad about this fight. I really wasn't even going to talk about it because I already felt like it was a setup. But when Trick Daddy Dollars posted this on Instagram, it really just confirmed and solidified everything. So, Trick Daddy Dollars posted this on Instagram, and I'm going to read it to social media. So, it says the rules for the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight are designed to favor Jake Paul. These include: the rules are extremely favorable to Jake Paul. The contract will incentivize Mike Tyson to lose and give Jake Paul an opportunity to choose himself as a winner. The first stipulation in the contract will punish Tyson for knocking out Jake because he is paid on a sliding scale per round. If Tyson knocks Jake out in the first round, he would receive no money. If he knocks him out in the second round, he would only make a small amount of cash. For Tyson to make the most money, he needs to survive all 8 rounds, which means avoiding knocking Jake Paul out. If the fight goes to a split decision, it favors Jake Paul because the judges have to be approved by Jake Paul. I'm gonna let y'all read that. I knew it was a setup. Because you know what? Mike Tyson had a lot of open air opportunity to smash Jake Paul.
David Hay added another perspective, suggesting that Jake Paul may be underestimating what it takes to face a truly elite fighter. Hay explained that Paul might be relying on his experience with previous bouts that many claim were scripted, giving him a false sense of confidence that he can handle someone like Anthony Joshua without real risk. In contrast, Joshua has reportedly refused any staged arrangements, insisting the fight would be a genuine contest, which creates a much tougher challenge for Paul as he now faces an opponent with authentic skill, power, and strategy rather than someone who might hold back for money or publicity.
Joshua going to go into this fight with Jake Paul with the same mindset after seeing him fight on a beat on points a 58-year-old Mike Tyson. My opinion is no. I think he feels zero fear in this fight. He's in a unique situation where he's going into a boxing ring with someone he doesn't believe deserves to be there. So is he going to be paying the price in training? Is he going to be getting those early nights? Is he going to be pushing himself in sparring to get the very best out of himself, like he did for the Ngannou fight? Unknown. I don't know. I don't think he will. I don't think he'll want to risk having any hard sparring just in case he gets injured. Because if he gets injured, he misses this $75 million payday against someone he doesn't believe will be good enough to be a legitimate sparring partner for him. You know what I mean? So it's a very unusual situation, very, very unusual. And, you know, obviously all the advantages are in Anthony Joshua's favor, except this one, except the mindset factor. Jake Paul has nothing to lose. He's got everything to gain. Him reaching round 3, round 4 is a win, in my opinion, and in many people's opinion. If Anthony Joshua doesn't detonate his right hand or a jab off of Jake Paul in the first 30 seconds, minute, and put him in problems, you know, some people would feel that he's underachieved or he let boxing down. You know, people don't consider Jake Paul a real boxer because he's got such a big profile on social media and he's got that background that he's come from. But he's dedicated himself to the sport.
Fighting analyst Chael Sonnen offered a blunt and uncompromising take on Jake Paul's abilities, making it clear there's no real comparison between him and Anthony Joshua. Despite all the training videos and clips circulating online, Paul still comes across more like a student learning the ropes than a true contender, with Sonnen noting that the footage often exposes his inexperience rather than demonstrating readiness for a top-tier opponent. He highlighted that the gap in skill, power, and ring awareness is obvious, showing that Jake Paul is nowhere near prepared to face someone of Joshua's experience and caliber.
Because people do this all the time. They'll be real dicks about it. Some guy will look great on the mitts. Oh, well, the mitts doesn't count. It's like, well, it kind of does count. If I have you working out on the mitts from a year ago, and I have a new tape today, and I can juxtapose those, I actually can see some timing. I actually can see some speed. I actually can see some footwork. I can see some power, and I can compare it. Now, Jake is in a wildly difficult spot. Boxing is unlike, by example, track and field. Track and field is all about personal records. You do not need to be faster than the guy standing next to you. Right? Now you can win and you can get trophies on that, but it's not actually your goal that your coach is working on you with. You just today want to be faster, throw further, jump higher than a previous version of yourself. Boxing doesn't work that way. It is straight. It doesn't matter how good you are. It is 100% comparative to how good is this guy. I understand that. But as human beings, we have to start somewhere. And I think there are many things that are going to be wins for Jake. I do not subscribe to the idea. Now he does. He will not agree with me, but an older version of himself, as he looks back, will see that Chael makes a very fair point. There's a number of things that are going to be wins or not for Jake. Now, Joshua's got one. Crush that man, get your hand raised. That's it. Well, I don't see it like that for Jake. I don't see it like that. And I know you guys don't either. I know you don't, because so many people that are predicting this fight won't even happen. Or that are predicting if this fight happens, these guys are going to be nice to each other. What does this word exhibition mean? Right? There's all these things where you're trying to take away, and you're not necessarily wrong. If Jake shows up for this fight,
Despite all the controversy surrounding the matchup, people were still placing serious bets on the fight, and the heavy betting action itself became another layer of debate about whether the Paul versus Joshua bout was a real sporting contest or just a spectacle designed for attention. Fans, casual bettors, and even some well-known personalities were all wagering on the outcome, which only fueled speculation about legitimacy. After Jake Paul was ultimately knocked out by Anthony Joshua, Joe Rogan offered a surprising perspective, giving credit where it was due and highlighting that surviving 6 full rounds against a proven heavyweight like Joshua was genuinely impressive. Rogan noted that many critics overlook the enormous gap in experience, power, and ring intelligence between a YouTuber-turned-boxer and a former world champion, and emphasized that while the knockout was inevitable, lasting that long required toughness, discipline, and serious conditioning, showing that Paul had some real grit, even if it didn't change the fact that Joshua's skill level was far superior.
That guy did great for someone who's been boxing for like less than a decade. He has had no real professional opponents other than Tommy Fury that were legitimate world-class boxers.
I don't even remember what happened in the Tommy.
He lost a close decision, but it was a good fight. It was a good fight, though. He's a good boxer. If he wasn't a YouTuber, people would be way more impressed with him.
Yeah.
The problem is he was like a famous kid, and then no one took him seriously.
Yeah.
But
and then he started too with like more spectacle-ish fights. People were like, "Oh, this is you." He fought, Nate Robinson, like a basketball player.
But the thing is, he knocked Nate Robinson
He knocked him
dead.
the fuck out.
And
yeah.
it's the way he did it that I was trying to tell people. I'm like, no, that was skillful. So like, there's like boxing matches where you see two guys just slugging it out. One guy lands a punch, and yeah, he landed a good punch. What Jake did is he slid back and landed a punch.
Yeah.
It's like the athleticism along with the intelligence, the technique. I'm like, he's not even doing it that long. And he's also hyper competitive, even though he's wealthy.
Yeah.
Like you would assume that wealth would take away your drive for
But
competition.
It hasn't,
He's also nuts, right? Just
Yeah.
the fact that he's willing to fight the 2-time heavyweight champion, former Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah.
A guy who's gigantic in his prime, built like a Greek god.
Yeah.
And you're going to stand, and he's a one-punch killer. And you're going to stand in front of that guy, and he avoided shots till the 6th round. He just started getting tired.
Yeah, his movement in that fight was crazy.
It was very good.
Yeah,
It was very good.
He was really keeping him moving around the whole ring, and then
You can't afford to get tired.
You
And
can't get
that's
tired.
the thing is, like, he gets tired in a lot of his fights in the later rounds. You should really sort that out. Because if he had a much bigger gas tank, like if he was training with like some of these elite world-class strength and conditioning coaches and just worked on his cardio, he'd be beating way more guys.
You think so?
Rogan recognized that Jake Paul displayed real toughness in the fight, but he also warned that taking devastating shots like the one that fractured his jaw in 2 places can have serious long-term consequences and isn't something worth repeating. He stressed that in combat sports the physical and mental toll often outweighs any money or fame, urging Paul to prioritize his future health over chasing bigger fights or publicity. Rogan reminded him that repeated damage carries real risks, including potential brain issues and depression, and encouraged him to seriously consider stepping back or retiring early rather than continuing to put himself in harm's way for short-term gain.
Bomb. Breaks his jaw in 2 places. The thing is, I would hope that he recognizes is right now he's doing great and he's only, whatever he is, 28. There's a price that you pay that is not worth it. And that price is a severe brain imbalance that's going to lead you to addiction. That was real damage. The inside of your head. There's a lot of damage going on in there too. If he doesn't have your respect after that fight, that guy did great for someone who's been boxing for like less than a decade.
Do you think Jake Paul's fights are actually scripted, or is it just hype and media buzz? Share your thoughts in the comments below.